Welcome to another episode of Memalytics, and today we have a very special guest, my really good friend, all the way from Colombia, and we got Camilo. Camilo, welcome, and please tell us a little bit about yourself, where you work, and what you do. What's your specialization in this football world?
Okay, hello Memo. I hope you are very good. Yes, man. I am a football fitness coach. I was working in Atlético Nacional, one of the biggest club here in Colombia, for 6 years. This year I was working in the second division and the second professional division in the football here in Colombia. And yeah, in this moment I am studying. I am doing a lot of things for improving my knowledge, my references, and yeah, man, that's all.
That's awesome, man. Well, I'm really glad you're joining us because I think you have a wealth of knowledge to share with the football community. What got you into football fitness? Because everyone jumps into coaching, they want to deal with the tactical side or the individual player. Why football fitness?
I think everything starts when I was a player. I really want to understand what was the the key for being a good player. And when I was a player, I thought like, okay, I have to run more, I have to do more gym, I have to prepare myself every day. But I realized that was not the starting point for having success in the football. And I start injury myself a lot for doing a lot of training, and I start studying about it, about to understand what was really the football fitness. And yeah, that's why I really enjoy studying about it, and obviously I love this game. So yeah, man.
So the experience that you had as a player influenced your decision on which area in football you wanted to be in. That's very interesting. So we're going to get right into it. So a lot of people don't really know what football fitness is, or they think they do. So what the biggest question is right now for this episode, what is football fitness?
Okay, that's a good question, Memo, because like you said, everyone is talking all the time about the football fitness, and everyone defines it like, oh, physical training, physical trainers, everything outside the pitch, everything outside the football world. And that's a fundamental mistake, because what do you really want is that the players improve in the pitch, what happened in the pitch on the Saturday game. So to define it more clear, the first thing we have to discuss is, okay, what's the reference, what the biggest reference? Because like I told you, everyone thinks, okay, physical, but everything the player do is with his body. So everything the player do is physical. And the second thing is for example, the theory who talks about how do you interact with the surrounding. Yeah. So the first thing is, like, if you are running outside the pitch, you are not interacting with the football surrounding. So it's by definition, it's not something that it's something that is going to improve the player, what he is doing in the football surrounding. So there is the action theory that describes about how do you interact with our surroundings. So, for example, there is a starting point like, okay, if you are interacting with the football surrounding, you are doing football actions. If you are, for example, going to press, if you are the right winger, you are going to press the left back of the opposing team, you are doing something in the football surrounding. You are pressing. You know, you don't say, you are running. No, you describe it in the football surrounding. So you are pressing. If you are not in the football surrounding, you are running. You are running in the beach. You are running in the streets. You can run everywhere. Yes, you are interacting with another surrounding, and that could be a basic action. It's a basic action, something that you do outside the football pitch. And then you have something that you are not interacting with something with the surrounding, and for example you are just moving your hips, so you are doing a hip flexion. That's something that we can discuss a lot, but doing how do you say, keeping it simple, yeah, it's like that. So football fitness refers in the first topic everything that happens in the football pitch, everything that happens in the football pitch. So you can define it like the player have to pass the ball, have to press, have to dribble, yeah. And what is football fitness? Is just passing, dribbling, shooting, pressing for how do you say, for more frequently, yeah, because you want it, if the player does a pressing very good pressing, but he only makes that pressing 2 times in, I don't know, 2 minutes, you want the player to press more frequently, yeah. So to be that's one of the characteristics of the football fitness, the player to do it more frequently, to press, to pass, to dribble. And because of the game is not only 10 minutes, 20 minutes, the game is 90 minutes, you want the player to keep pressing for 90 minutes, 90 minutes, yes? So that could be a definition, or that's the definition of football fitness. What is football fitness? Because football in the first part of my phrase, yeah, football is the starting point, and fitness is the player doing that more frequently and for longer.
It's really, really interesting because when I hear you talk, you didn't go right into like most people would do. Oh, it's conditioning, endurance, higher sprint speeds, but you took it to a whole different level. So just to zoom out and trying to summarize everything that you just said, football fitness it's what's done during the game. And what a lot of people are doing is doing fitness that is non-game related. So the way you define football fitness is everything has to be within the game. So game related fitness. So interacting with this football environment, and then everything that's done outside of the game is not football fitness. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, the way you described it, because you even went even deeper before you even described what fitness is in terms of football. You started discussing this action theory, where we have a football action, which is you had it at the top level. And then the next step is a basic action. So then you took pressing as an example. Pressing is the action, but then the basic action of pressing is sprinting or running. Yeah.
Yes.
And then the last layer would be movement, which is like bending your knees,
For example.
swinging your arms. Yeah.
Yes.
And you described so these two, basic action and movement, is not interacting with the game environment.
Yes.
The football action, which has components that we haven't dived into just yet, but the components of this football action, you said you wanted to do pressing, but now the game is 90 minutes, so you can't just press once. So football fitness is doing an action, a football action, for more frequently and for longer.
Yes.
Did I summarize all this correctly?
Yes, and a little piece that I missed when I was talking, and I think it's a fundamental thing. It's this happened because football is not the starting point of the people. Football is not the starting point. The starting point of the people is think how to solve football problems with physical development, for example. And so the people see football, and the first thing that the people see, or the physical coaches or the fitness trainers see, oh, the guy, the player has to run more, has to jump high, has to, they try to solve football problems with, like you said, fitness or physical things outside the football world, and without understanding why that football problem is happening.
So there's a lack of a starting point or an understanding of what the starting point is, because football should be the main focus, but because football is not the main focus for some people, or they don't know what football is in the first place, they take a different starting point and try to apply it in football rather than solving the problem within football. So
in fact, when you start talking with a fitness coach, and you ask about a player, the first thing he's going to tell you about that player, he's going to say, oh, he's really fast, he's really strong, he has a lot of intensity. But what are you describing about the football?
Yeah, because several people could have different definitions for these words, like intensity. Yeah, he's very fast. Yeah, but what does that mean? Did he perform his action in a successful way or not? Yeah, because without a good starting point, there's nothing to refer back to. So you might be just fighting symptoms and not the actual problem. And without this overarching reference that you're describing to us, it's going to be very, very hard for a coach to improve his players, because then he's just going to be guessing, gambling, and hoping. And if you guess, gamble, and hope, yeah, good luck.
Yes.
So this football action theory, does it also have other components? Is there more? Is there
Yeah,
any? Yeah,
in the football action.
yeah. What
Yes,
is the football action?
yes. If you are talking about the football action, you have to talk about, like you said, components or phases of the football action.
Mhm,
And the first in the top is the communicating phase.
mhm,
What is the communicating phase? The communicating phase is the player sending information and receiving information from the players, uh, from his own team, the opposing team, all the environment. So
mhm,
he has to communicate with all the environment. He has to perceive all this information, and he's sending some information.
mhm,
The second phase is the decision making, the
mhm,
decision uh, deciding phase. What's that? What he's going to do, what he decide with that information, what the player decide to do, and who is going to do what he decide. For example, he decide to pass the ball to the left winger, and now how he's going to do that pass, for example. And when he do that, the third phase of the football action is the executing phase, when he executes what he decide, what he just decide. So that's the summary of the football reference. And then the people is going to say, oh, but where is the fitness? What is the physical thing? So CDE, that communicating, deciding, and executing, is doing the fitness is doing that communication, that deciding, that execution more frequently, and doing that for longer. So when the player is in the football pitch, he is communicating, he is deciding, he's executing, he's doing football actions. And obviously, like we discussed before, is something that the player has to do it more frequently and for longer, because the game is 90 minutes.
mhm. So, in summary, football, a football action has three components: communicating, where the player is perceiving the information around him, but he can also send information. So perceiving is an integral part of communicating, because
Yes.
people might say it's only perceiving. Yeah, but communicating is two-way traffic because you're
He's influencing the opponent. He's
yeah.
influencing. When you are just perceiving, you don't influence the opponent or the surrounding.
Mhm. Yeah, because even if you just stand there, you're influencing the match or your
Yes.
direct opponent, for example. So, okay, communicating is the first component, and then you described deciding. So, based on the players communicating, he will decide what to do and potentially how to perform what he will execute.
Yes.
And this is very clear. And then you said, yeah, but where does fitness come in? I have a question. I had a pop up because yeah, all these coaches, yeah, we want to get fitter, we want to last longer in the game. So then the quantity becomes of a higher order than the quality. And if you don't, it's just it popped up into my head. If you don't improve the quality, the 100% of the action first, then you're just gonna with the fitness as of a higher order, you're just gonna perform bad football actions or not very good football actions, like you said, for more frequently or for longer. So you're gonna do more actions, but not at the highest quality. What do you think about that?
Yeah. That's why the football ability is in the highest order than the football fitness or
Mm,
the football performance of the player, because the football ability is what the player can do. So you want to improve those actions at the first moment. Is in the first place. The starting point is the player have to do better actions. It's in the highest order, because like you said, for what reason I'm going to have a player that he can press for 90 minutes, but he's always late.
Yeah.
His actions, his football actions are not good enough. So I have to improve that pressing in the highest order. And then I want to make the player to do it more frequently. He can do it now better. So now he's doing it more frequently. But I want the player to maintain that, so he can do it for longer, because he's going to play for 90 minutes, 70 minutes, 60 minutes. I want the player to press for 60 minutes, for example, keeping the example of the pressing. But like we discussed before, people is thinking about, I want that player who is pressing all the time, he's running all the time. But how is the quality of that pressing? How is the quality of that football actions? They don't see that.
Yeah, it's a very interesting point. Is there a way to maybe describe the football action in a better way to then improve this football action even further in terms of maybe space and time characteristics? Like how would you describe the action?
Like I told you, for example, explaining that football action have some characteristics, like I told you. So the player is pressing all the time, and like in my example, he's pressing and he's going in the wrong moment, So, for example, the first thing that we have to discuss is the position. Where is the player? What is the starting point of the player, and who is the player? Where he is and who is his orientation? Yes. The second thing is the moment. So, for example, he is in the midfield, and he starts his running when the left back starts dribbling. You are now referring about the moment.
Mm-hmm.
After the moment, you have the direction of that pressing. Yes, you describe what's the direction of the pressing. He is going to press, or he's pressing the right foot of the left back. Yes. And then the speed of the action. He's going very fast, for example. And that's another key thing that you said, because the fitness trainer didn't know about how to solve that football problem. Because if you solve, for example, the direction of the pressing, like I told you, he's going to press in the right foot of the left back. So he's giving the left back to giving the space, giving the opportunity to play with his left foot. He is left-footed. So the quality of the pressing in terms of the direction is what you have to improve, because you want to say the player to press in the left foot because he's going to play with his right foot and he is left-footed. Mm-hmm. But when the football fitness player, the fitness coaches see that, he's going to say, he have to improve his velocity. He have to improve his intensity. He is not fit enough. but you didn't solve that. You have to first, like we discussed, you have to first solve a football problem in the football world, in the football action. If you cannot solve that football problem with the position, moment, direction, and speed of the player, because the football fitness is related with the execution, for example. So if you could not solve that, then you can say, okay, I will go to solve that problem with my right winger outside the pitch. And then you can have two things. You can do basic actions with the ball, so the player is not interacting with the football surrounding, but maybe he can kick the ball. Yeah, maybe there is a player who has the ball and he's going to run, and you can help the player to telling him that you are going to press in this way. For example, you are how do you say, isolating the football action from the football world, and you are doing it more simple for one player. But if you have one injury player and he needs I don't know, a share, how do you say, a share, all the share for the injury people, how do you say in English?
Like a chair?
Yeah, the share.
Like a wheelchair?
Yeah. A wheelchair. If one player needs the wheelchair, the other 10 don't need the wheelchair. So you are going to fix one player, for example. So you isolate one player, not you have to sacrifice all the team for that one player. So you do that basic action training with the ball, and if you could not solve it, you are going to solve it outside with the basic action training. Like people knows the basic action training is like the strength training. Yeah, you are going to help the player how to accelerate, how to sprint, how to landing, for example, etc., etc., etc. But like we are discussing, is not the starting point. They start solving it in the gym, but you have to solve it first in the football pitch.
Okay. So again, just to recap, a football action has 4 space and time characteristics, which will help a coach better describe and explain the football problem. So first, position, which could be pitch position and body position.
Yes.
So be able to describe this as a coach. Where on the pitch is this occurring? And the body position of the player, what is going wrong with maybe his body mechanics. Then second would be the moment, because maybe he starts late, or I wanna get into when you said physical, because people say mental and physical, but when they say mental, they refer to the brain.
Yeah.
And the processes in the brain are also physical, so mental should be out of the equation. So by definition, everything is physical. So that was just a side note, just for everybody. Mental does not exist, because maybe the moment is late because the signal from the brain to the muscle could be late, or maybe he starts the action too soon. So again, being able to describe moment as a coach to help the player, the direction in which way he's performing the action, and at the speed he is performing the action, so the acceleration or the deceleration. You're basically almost describing it in terms of basic actions, because they're an integral part of a football action, but a basic action is not a football action, but they are a part of it. Now these 4 characteristics on its own gives a better guideline or maybe like a reference for all the coaches. So I thank you for introducing this reference, because now the coaches have something to hey, okay, a football action is communicating, deciding, and executing. Okay, now I can more purposefully view the football action in terms of position, moment, direction, and speed. And if you can better describe and explain what is going on, the better chance you have of solving a problem. Because people immediately go into solving a problem that they can't describe and explain. Oh yeah, he's not running fast enough. No. The moment was late. The moment his speed was good, but the moment was late. But you can only do this if you have a good reference to work off of. And you brought an interesting point too in terms of injured player, a rehab player, which rehab could be a completely different topic for another day. But if there's an injured player or a player that needs help in terms of improving maybe his biomechanics and so basic action, and you cannot solve this problem during team training, you do not, as a general reference for coaches, you do not sacrifice the team training for this one player, which is a very powerful tool for a coach to have in his pocket. Because if one player is disturbing the team, maybe that is the moment to take him out and put him in isolation, and then reintegrate him in the team. So it's very interesting. So with all these references that you provided us, how do you now begin your work as a football fitness coach?
Okay. I have some tools talking about the football fitness training, and about the basic action training, because the basic action training is not the end, it's not the most important thing like we discussed, but it's something that before you are in the pitch, for example, if you know how to use it, you can help the player without giving him more how do you say, more fatigue. Yes, you can help the player to improve, because like you said before, they are connected. Yes, the movement, the basic action, and the football action, everything is connected. So you want to improve the movement, and if you improve the movement, you are going to improve the basic action. And if you improve the basic action, what?
You would hope so.
You hope. So if you improve the basic action, you are going to improve the football fitness. So that's the reason why you have to understand what's the football fitness and what you are going to improve. And if you have it really clear, this is going to be a great tools to improve that. First. Second, you can use the basic action training in the gym, for example, to reduce the probabilities, yes, of the risk injury. It's something that you can do it, but like I said before, it's a tool. It's not the end. It's not the most important thing that you can do, because like we discussed before, the ability of the player is very different of the football fitness. So if you want to improve the player, you have to improve the ability of the player. And if you improve the football fitness of the player, you are improving the contribution of the player for the team, because he's going to be more available. He's going to do it, his good actions more frequently and for longer. So like you asked me how it starts. So I need to. We have to. We have to have the reference of the football fitness very clear. So, what are the characteristics of the football fitness? And that's one thing. And then how you are going to periodize. Yeah, it's the
Right.
word.
Mhm.
Periodize the football training.
Mhm.
So, for example, with the first thing is in the football fitness characteristics, like we discussed before, the first thing is not the football fitness, but the first thing you have to have very clear in your brain is okay. The football ability is the in the top, and then the football characteristics are in here. So the first football characteristic you want to do is okay. The player do it very good, do 101% those actions. Keep going with the same example, the pressing. He's
Mhm.
doing a good pressing, a very, very good pressing.
Yeah.
But he do that pressing only 5 times, for example, in a minute. So you want the player to do more pressing actions. Yes. So more football actions. It's the first characteristic of the football fitness. More football action, more of that pressing, of that passing, of that dribbling, of that shooting. Yes.
Mhm.
Then because the game is not just 45 minutes, it's 90 minutes. You want that player to do those actions for longer, like we discussed. So you have the player to keep doing those good actions for longer, for more time.
Yeah.
Yes, and you want that player to do more repetitions of what he is doing. So in a summary, more actions, yeah.
Mhm.
The player to maintain doing those good actions,
Mhm.
to maintain that pressing all the time. He's pressing, and he can maintain doing that.
Mhm.
And then you want the player to press really good, maintain that in the second half of the game, but to do it a lot of times, for more frequently.
So now you give us another useful information. So characteristics of football fitness, which is so CDE is better actions. CDE, so communicating, deciding, executing. That's better action. That's what we want to improve. And then fitness, football fitness, the characteristics are more actions or more better actions, I should say. So more of CDE.
Yeah.
It's maintain those better actions or those good actions, and then maintain many good actions, which is a very useful tool because now you can see the quality of their actions during a match and see if they're able to do more of it, like you say, or maintain them, and maintain the quality and the quantity of their actions. I'm glad you went into that. Now, as a football fitness coach, how would you assess the team with this reference? So when the team just comes in for maybe preseason, because I see a lot of coaches, or everywhere around the world, teams come in, the first thing they do is fitness test.
Yep.
Hey,
Yes.
yo test. Is this useful tool or
Oh man.
they don't know, they don't have the correct starting point?
If you want to evaluate something, the starting point should be the football. So how is that number? Or how is that thing that I am evaluating is going to help me in the football world? So how I of how we apply those references. Um, from the beginning of the season, we are playing football. That's the starting point. You are going to do the player to do better actions within the theme. Yeah. So that's why I told you before of the periodization. Yeah. Because there is a lot of principles for doing that. But the first thing in the preseason is, we are going to play. Yeah, we are going to play. We are going to train football, a football training session. And for example, because like I told you, the principles of the periodization are really important. If, for example, the first week of the preseason, we are not going to play a friendly because it's going to be too much risk for the injury for the players. So you are going to start developing the football, the communication between the players. You are going to improve the football actions of the players. And for example, you have one day to improve that football fitness of the players, the football fitness of the players. So the starting point in the preseason, for example, the first day of the football fitness is you want the player to do, for example, more repetitions, or you are going to overload the player gradually. You are not going to put the player in the first day or in the third day of the preseason. You are not going to put the player in the river. You are going to throw the player to the river. No, you are going to overload the player gradually. So, for example, there is a tool that the player do some basic actions before we start with the training, with the football training. So those are some basic actions called the preparation, the explosivity preparation runs. Yeah. What's the intention of that? You are going to prepare the hamstring to decelerate and to accelerate. Yeah, you are going to prepare the player for that. So there is a 10-step tool that is going to help the players to decrease the injury risk for the hamstring muscles. You can do in the first day of the football fitness training, you are going to make that football preparation basic actions, and you are going to start with the football fitness games, to 8 versus 8, 11 versus 11 in the spectrum, and what are the characteristics of that game? For example, you are going to put the player in a situation that the player have to make football actions. You are improving the fitness of the player, and he have to keep doing that football actions for longer.
So what you're saying is maybe like a fitness test, like the yo-yo test. If people aren't familiar with the yo-yo test, is basically a 20-meter sprint and 20-meter sprint back in a certain amount of time with 5 seconds rest or however much time they give you in between each sprint. That this fitness test is not the best fitness test to evaluate the football fitness of the player, rather than actually putting them in the match itself or a training session where they're forced to perform football actions for more frequently and for longer. Is this correct?
Yes, like I said before, if you are going to do a test, you have to analyze the relation with the football, with the football. Yeah, because the actions that the player do in the yo-yo test, they are not related on what happened in a match. So a good thing, like you said, is putting them in the game, and the fitness or the development of the physical conditioning is going to be inside of the game. So, but if you decide for whatever reason to do a test, the football is a sport that the explosivity actions are in the highest order. So, for example, there is a test called the short repeated sprinting. Is much more related to what happened in the football world, and in the references that, for example, Raymond discussed in the football periodization book. He uses that tool that is outside the football world and brings that tool in the football world, and he applies that in the football world. So it's a 6-week cycle for the development of the football fitness for the players. And like I said before, it's like an overload, a progressive overload for the players, and they are developing his fitness in the football context. And if you are doing, for example, a test that is not related, so you have to stop and think why I'm doing this, because everyone do those tests. What's the reason I'm doing that? Maybe there are some tests, not fitness tests, more of the movement or the basic action. For example, I don't know, the mobility of the hips, for trying to visualize or anticipate for the risk injuries. Something about how the player can jump and landing. Those are integral parts of the football action. Okay, if you are going to do that, you can evaluate that, but what you are going to do with those numbers. But like I said before, if you want to do it, okay, do it, but why and how you are going to apply that knowledge in the football. Because if I have a player, like we discussed before, I have a player that, I don't know, he can jump 50 centimeters, yes? Okay, he can jump a lot, but he never hit the ball with his head for goal. For
what use
the
is
jumping is helping in your team?
Yeah, jumping has no purpose.
Yeah,
because he can't hit the ball with his head.
But if he can jump 50 centimeters and he's always in the right moment, he do it in the right moment, he's in the right position, and he scores goals. Oh, perfect, man.
Yeah. So 3 things I got out of that, which is it intrigues me. Starting back from the test, that conditioning, quote unquote conditioning, is already present in football. So these non-contextual fitness tests or running activities could be not could be tossed to the side because you already have it in there. And
like I told you, Raymond, for example, using that tool, bringing that tool to the football world, says, okay, how I can improve, or how can I apply that tool in the football world. And I was talking with a colleague, and I said, okay, what make the player to give his 100%? What? The coach telling him, oh, you have to run, 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 or the guy who is in his side, and they are going to run for the ball, and the first one who touches the ball, he can score, for example. So the one of the ways for the development of the explosive, of the quality, talking about the quality, about the execution of the player, of the maximum football actions with maximum rest, for example. So it's in the football context, you can control a lot of things, yeah, but you are doing something from the football context, and you are developing all the necessities for the player in the football surrounding.
That's a powerful tool for coaches doing all these extra running around the pitch, sprints, to zoom out and say, are the players really sprinting and running at 100%? Because I think what you said was very powerful. What influences the player the most? Is it running in isolation, running against somebody, running against somebody with ball, or running with someone against ball in a game?
Yeah,
Which
because
one is going to give you the maximum out of the player?
you can say to, I don't know, 10 players, okay, we are going to run, I don't know, and we are going to do some sprints. How you can be sure that the player is giving his 100%? The ball and the opponents gives you that. Give the player, they want to win all the time. That's why they are football players. So they want to win all the time. So how you are going to put in the football those things that you think, oh, I have to improve the sprinting, oh, I have to improve the endurance, I have to improve all the things that you think outside the football, the physiology, the development of the physical things, yes. How you can develop that with the ball and the players, the opponents. And the best example is that one. You say to players, you have to run at 100%, do it, and you are shouting all the time. But maybe they are going at 90%, maybe. But if you put a ball and then you say they can score, man, you don't even have to say to the players, "Oh, give your 100%, man. I want to win you. I'm going to give all my best. I'm going to do all my best." So,
And it's like what you said, you need to get 100% in the football action, but you also need this 100% also in the fitness. So how can you give both external and internal motivation to the player to really perform at 100%? Because like you said, maybe in isolation with no external motivation like the ball, are they, maybe you get 90% at best, and maybe you have to yell at the player for extra motivation, maybe you get 91. But if you want 100%, because coaches always say, yeah, why are you running around the pitch? Why are you doing sprinting? And oh, because we want to improve aerobic capacity of the player. We want to improve their endurance and condition. Oh, okay. Are they running at 100%? Doubt it. So how what are you improving? Yeah.
If you with that example, if you want to improve the aerobic capacity of the player, so maintaining what he is doing for longer, so put those scenarios. One, he's running around the pitch, and the other one, he's playing a football fitness game, 8 versus 8, 7 versus 7, 7 by 7, yes.
Mhm.
He, in what scenario he's uh, he's how do you say in English? He's obligated. No,
He's
obligated.
yeah, obligated, forced to.
He's forced to keep or maintaining that. He's running on the pitch. He's
Mhm.
jogging. Okay, but in the football game, he is forced for the opponents and for his own teammates to keep doing, to maintain pressing, to maintain passing, to maintain dribbling, to maintain shooting, etc., etc.
Mhm.
What is the best scenario for the football player?
Yeah.
And asking the question is answering the question.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's no question that the game already drives the motivation of the player because, like you said, they want to win. And you know what I also popped up into my head, in my brain, when uh what are people want to improve something, but then they don't think about the potential consequences of something, because they're training the team in terms of everyone performs the same number of actions in the same exact way. Because a center back is not like a center midfielder who maybe runs at a similar tempo. They're more sprinting, or a fullback who gets up and down the pitch,
Yeah.
longer sprints. So they have to recover between actions a lot quicker because they have to again and again. Or a striker, sprint, maximum rest, sprint, maximum rest. But everyone's doing the same fitness activity. What?
Yeah.
And the goal players also included sometimes. When he only has to sprint 15, 20 meters max. So,
Yes.
so this could potentially create a problem for some players, because now, and we talk about the physiology now the conversation like really gets really interesting. Because now if you do a lot more distance running, you lose those fast twitch muscle fibers because you're detraining them.
Yes.
So now the players are less explosive. So you try to solve a problem, and then you create a completely different problem.
Totally.
And I think it's a big problem in the football world.
And
Now
the other
tailor it.
sorry, so the other problem, Memo, is the people think that if you work more and more and more and more and more and more, it's going to be better. So they are thinking, okay, quantity, quantity over quality, and they talking briefly about the periodization. The first thing you need, okay, the best players, the players to do it better and better. But the thing is, you periodize and do that football fitness, but you need the players 100% recovery. Yeah, this is going to give you less risk injury, they are going to be able to make those explosive actions. But the fitness coaches or the fitness trainers are just thinking about work and work and work and work and strong muscles, and they are just putting more fatigue in the muscles of the players. And in the football world, you can see a lot of injuries of the knees. The ACL, for example, is one of the, and the people think, oh, it's something that happened. It's a random thing, but they have five. And why that happened? Why that happened? Oh, but we all the time do a lot of basic actions or strength training to decrease the injury risk of that. But what you are doing, and like you said, when you train the football fitness, the development of the fitness in the football context, you are developing all the necessities, yes, all the requirements for every position during the game, you know. And you are, if you do a good periodization, you are going to put the emphasis in the freshness of the players. They are totally recovered, yes, and I'm not going to improve the football fitness of the players with only 48 hours before a match. I have to do it 72 hours before a match and 72 hours after a match, because I want to try to be how do you say, try to put not too trying to put not too much risk in the players for the hamstrings, for the muscles, because they are going to be, after the match, 72 hours, they are going to be totally recovered. But if you do it, the fitness training session, the football fitness training session, 24 hours or 48 hours before a match, you are going to put unnecessary fatigue in the legs of the players. So the injury risk is going to increase. My point is, the football coaches, the football fitness coaches, the fitness coaches, the physical coaches, they train in the gym, a lot of strength training before a match, the day before or 2 days before. And they are just giving more probabilities to the player to get an injury because they are not fresh. They are not totally recovered.
Yeah. So you can't, without the player being fresh, you can't improve fitness, because a lot of coaches, especially during preseason and sometimes in the professional level, they're doing 2 training sessions a day, sometimes 3. And how are you gonna improve the fitness if the player is dead? He barely has a pulse, and he's struggling and he's struggling and he's struggling. Yeah, but we're improving the fitness. You're not improving anything. You're gambling with this player's health by doing which is an excellent point. And this could even go into youth football, because a lot of younger players are getting more and more injured because of the lack of freshness. Camilo, thank you so much for your time. We definitely have to pick this up again.
I almost died, man. I was with my, how do you say that?
What you choked? You were choking.
Nah, man, I was dying.
I am not liable. I'm not liable for that. I'm gonna have the guest sign a waiver. But no, we really appreciate your time and to share your knowledge and expertise. I know you have another meeting to go to, so enjoy that. Again, thank you. But we're definitely gonna have to pick this up again, because
yeah, man,
it was
for sure.
short and there's still so much to discuss. So
yes,
thank you so much, Camilo.
thank you, Memo. See you soon, my friend.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye. Ciao, ciao.